Masterworks has many different meanings with art. Also, a lot of people like to talk about how art is subjective, and of course, some of you know that I reject that. Out of hand, I simply reject it. Art is not subjective. A person's appreciation of art and their knowledge of art is subjective. But art itself is not subjective any more than whether or not an airplane can fly in the sky is just subjective. It's not subjective. It's very technical. It takes a lot of training, and it can be aesthetically beautiful. It might not be. It can have different styles. The same as planes. Planes and art. So no, it's not subjective. Now, what we're going to do is, because I've been asked to speak a little bit about the masterworks of the Rubin Museum. Now, this is something we've wanted to do for a while, is to talk about the masterworks of different museums. Now, we have for some individual objects, like a painting or sculpture, for some from some collections and museums. But it's difficult to talk about masterworks from a large collection because there's too many. They have to be divided up. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to tell you what the four main categories of masterworks within the Rubin Museum of Art are. They are painting, illumination / manuscripts, sculpture, and textile works. So these are the four divisions. And so what we'll do is we'll do 4 more videos where we talk about each of these. Now the paintings, of course, again, you have to divide up between time periods, regions, and styles. The illumination and manuscripts, again, this is a region and time period. A little bit style, but not as much. There's 2 great works in the Rubin Museum that are manuscripts. One is the Svarodaya. It's sort of a magic text, a martial magic. Its origins are actually Shaiva. They're not even Buddhist. The Svarodaya long scroll, manuscript scroll, is world class. It's one of the very best. I've only seen maybe one other some years ago, over 20 years ago, that even comes close to the Rubin Museum Svarodaya. Then the white barrel of designed by Desi Sangjajatso. Now the white barrel of the Rubin Museum is a copy of the Desi, and I believe it's late 18th century, early 19th century. So it's possible it's just right around 1800, 1810, something like that. And it is a spectacular astrological manuscript. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Then sculpture masterworks, there's just really too many, because we have Nepalese, we have some Kashmiri sculpture, we have some Pala Indian, Tibetan, Mongolian, Northern Chinese, Yuan period. So we have different periods, different geographic regions, and many different styles. So sculptures are actually a strength of the Rubin Museum of Art. Then comes textiles. Textiles, they're different types. We have applique, embroidery, and woven textiles. The woven textiles generally are of Chinese origin. The Tibetan and Himalayan peoples generally would do applique and some embroidery. The Chinese works would also put a lot of stones, small stones, into the creation and into the decoration of the applique. Now, appliques and embroideries, they're all following a Tibetan painting model. Nobody really makes an applique or an embroidery from scratch. I mean, normally you have actually a painted example representation, and then the artists or the weavers would make copies. Sometimes for the weaving, they'd make a paper copy, which is then used as a model for years and years for making that particular textile work, following a painted example. So these are the four categories, and we're gonna do individual videos on these four categories, and then where necessary, we will focus on individual objects, such as the Svarodaya and the white beryl, because they're really too big to deal with, other than having their own individual video. And when I say we and in the Rubin Museum, I mean I worked for the Rubin Museum for many years. I no longer work there, but I am still familiar with the collection, and think that it needs to be well promoted because of its importance and its quality and its breadth. So please press the like button. You can subscribe. You can also join HAR on Patreon. And you can also go to the HAR website and make a donation, because we are a 501c3. We survive on donations from the public. We have no corporate sponsorship. We have no objects that we sell. We have no product that we sell. So please consider donating if you're in a position to do so.